Robots Radio presents
Fresh Tomatoes, the movie podcast.
I'm not usually a hat fan, but wow.
Jeg vil ikke være en dagger.
I'm really sipping on that dumb bitch juice today, and
Yeah, I am. But you know what? Someday I just might grow out of that. But you will never stop being a jerk.
All chocolate cakes are good. You're a fascist.
it's hideous.
It's horrible.
It's home. Angry white boy, let's go! Hello, and welcome to Fresh Tomatoes, the movie podcast, where every 23 years we record an episode. That's Chad Ekowitz.
And that is Simone LaRue. Jeepers Creepers, that was a great intro.
Thank
well
you.
done. That was superb. That I mean, you're on point. You're absolutely right. Here we are back again, Simone. Shit. Coming back with the old hits, right?
Yeah, look at us. Look at us. For people wondering, why are you here? What are you doing? Chad and I, yes, we did promise another project, which we are working on. In that space of time, though, Chad has gotten engaged and become a lawyer, a whole lawyer.
Yeah.
So, understandably, our progress has been slow.
Exactly.
And
Yes,
we were chatting, and I said, don't you miss recording the podcast? And he said, I absolutely do, especially with Halloween coming up. So here we are.
Exactly. You know what? Simone and I haven't spoken once since the end of the podcast. As soon as we hit that stop recording button back in, 2021, we didn't speak again. Even I came back to South Africa for a friend's wedding, and we did not meet up or anything.
No, nothing.
So it's just nice to catch up again.
We're
and,
only friends if it's being recorded.
Absolutely. We need witnesses. Otherwise, it just goes to shit. So I'm glad you're all here. Welcome back. We hope that we can keep the same energy that we used to have. But, please do excuse us if, we are rusty as hell with this. It has been a long time. And, there are going to be some flaws and some potholes. But you know what? It's Halloween. It's the season of giving. That's what Halloween's about, obviously. So just be forgiving of us, please.
Yes. Hello. Hi. We've missed you.
We have missed you, and we hope you've missed us. I mean, the two weird, self-appointed movie experts, coming into your ears every week.
Do we pretend to be experts?
I would say
I think
what are you
part of
saying
our
that we actually
charm
are?
I think part of our charm is our total ignorance of filmmaking and what constitutes a good movie. That way we're just like, yeah, this is good.
Wow, I'm really glad that we're discussing this now, because we obviously approached the old podcast from a very different angle. I approached it from us pretending to be experts, but you approached it from sort of an amateur, sort of wide-eyed, dewy-eyed look.
Basking in my ignorance.
That's great. I mean, look at this is why we come back for these things. I now understand why they did that whole like Hogwarts reunion thing, and why they did that Friends reunion thing. This is ours. I would say they're on level. I would say they're of the
I'd say
exact
they're
same
on a par
importance.
for sure.
Yeah,
certainly with
absolutely.
the similar cult followings.
Exactly. I mean, we've already sold this to Quibi, right? I mean, this is going out on Quibi soon.
And what, Tubi? Is that still going?
Yeah. I think so. Yeah, both of those are definitely still going.
Yes.
So we'll see us there, guys. Absolutely. But talking of things that are definitely still going, but no one knows why. What 2 movies are we doing? 3 movies are we doing this week, Simone?
These have been like on my radar for a very long time.
Right.
And then I had the opportunity to watch the first one, and I was like, you know what? In for a penny, in for a pound. Let's do this. So we are doing the Jeepers Creepers movies, the trilogy.
Yes. I went onto IMDb now just to get the actors' names and everything, and I see there is a 4th one coming out called Jeepers Creepers Reborn. Which
I'm ready. Honestly, I might watch it. I'm invested.
So excited to get your take on these 3 movies, since you are so enthusiastic about this 4th one, because I am going to stay away from it so hard. If I never, ever have to watch or do anything to do with Jeepers Creepers after this episode, I will be the most happy man on the planet.
Are you telling me that you have not had that silly song stuck in your head for like the last week?
I have, Simone. Oh, I have. And that is part of the annoyance, is because it only featured in one of the movies, Simone.
Yeah, it never comes up again. Or if it does, I missed it.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Can confirm. It came up in the first one, never came up in the second
Yes.
one, and then the third one was about a truck that we will get into. But again, no mention of the song. I don't even think they really said Jeepers Creepers in the third one at all. So absolutely no connection. Could have been a
No,
standalone.
someone does say Jeepers Creepers in the third one.
Oh, do they?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Well, I obviously I did not pay that much attention to the third one, and for good reason. But
The third
we'll
one
get into
ties it
that.
all together, Chad.
Oh, I have thoughts, Simone, and I have feelings with a capital F on this one. But I believe what we used to do, now correct me if I'm wrong, is before we got into the films, is we discussed what we were drinking.
Yes.
That rings a bell in my ancient memories of a year ago. So what are you drinking?
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's a red wine. It's a red blend, I
Good.
think, that's mostly
Ooh.
Merlot.
Oh, lovely.
Yes.
Good wine?
Yeah,
Happy?
it's quite nice. So my friend's family actually owns like a wine shop, and this is like their wine shop's label.
Oh,
So quite special,
cool.
actually.
That's really nice. Yeah, that's cool. So you like, I find that when I know like have a personal sort of connection to the alcohol, or there's like a story that I really appreciate from the alcohol, it almost like it will taste better. I don't know if you feel the same way.
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
think that's science.
Which branch of science we shan't say, but definitely science.
No, but yes, no, I agree. It's just, I also bought it like on my birthday last week. So yeah, it all just feels nice.
Yes. Well, let's all say a big happy birthday to Simone. I want everyone to stop what they're doing and just like sing happy
No,
birthday.
it's fine. Thank you. I
and
hate
Simone will
that.
sit here
I never know.
in
You know, I
absolute
hate being
silence.
sung to, Chad. You know this.
Yes. And I feel like Rudy needs to do it at like your wedding one day. Just, pull out a guitar and then just sit and just sing.
I just assume that's what you're going to do at my wedding one day, Chad.
I'm thinking about it, and I will learn specifically to play
Chad,
Wonderwall for that purpose.
I'm not a lady. I will tackle.
That is true. That is very, very true. Yeah.
And my sister, she's like, I will run interference at your wedding. And my sister's very scary.
Aw, she is. I would not want to mess with your sister. That's for sure. Max is fully loaded. That's for sure. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Want to take.
But
her on.
you actually do have a wedding on the horizon. While we're talking about congratulations.
I do have a wedding on the horizon. It's crazy. The guy who made a huge,
like over a year from now.
Well, I mean, to be fair, a year and 6 days, Simone, from the day of recording this, which is pretty nuts. Like, I mean, we were talking about this before we went onto the podcast. I mean, we're turning 30 in a year's time. We're leaving our 20s behind, and we're just like, we're still babies. How are we allowed to do this? And I'm getting married. Like, how is that legal? But yeah, really, it's going to be great. I mean, I made a bit on this podcast of always being single, and that is no longer ever going to be true ever again, which is nuts.
Yeah.
Couldn't be happier, to be honest.
Thrilled for
I'm
you.
a very lucky man. Thank you so much. Yes. I mean, she's sat in the other room. She did not watch any of these movies with me, and I think
for her.
That's a good thing.
Good for her.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm drinking just Fanta Twist today. I'm not drinking anything alcoholic.
Oh.
I kind of just didn't feel like it, to be honest. Plus, I don't really have a lot of alcohol. I have whiskey in my house, and I didn't want to just like.
You don't want to drink a whiskey at like 2 PM on a Saturday.
Yeah, it's not the vibe that I'm going for right now.
We're not in lockdown anymore.
No, I'm not screaming for help. So we don't need that anymore. So yeah, just going for a Fanta Twist. And you know what? It's sort of akin to alcohol since, being healthy, trying to drink less fizzy drinks. So, it's like my special day out kind of vibe.
Okay, I love that.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know how you want to break this down. Do you want to do 1 and 3 and I'll just like come in with the facts about 2 in terms of synopsis?
Yeah, let's do that. I think, honestly, the synopses for these are not very detailed. So
no, we can just run through them.
We guys will just get you through it. Okay, let's start with number 1. Sorry, I'm like, how do I record a podcast again?
Again, rusty. We're gonna try our best.
So rusty. Okay, so a brother and sister are on their way home from college. The sister is Trish, played by Gina Phillips, and the brother is Derry, played by Justin Long. The two of them are on like what is well known as an incredibly long, lonely country road. Apparently, you get a lot of those in America. And while they're driving, they first have this truck drive up on them out of nowhere with the license plate beating you or be eating you. It's never made clear. And eventually, because it keeps hooting at them and like almost ramming them, and eventually they pull over and it moves along and they're like, that was fucking weird. Great. They keep on driving, and as they drive past a very old church, they see the truck is parked there and the driver is dumping what look like bodies down a chute. They keep driving and they're like, we got to do something about this. Like, oh, the truck chases them again and then they escape again. And they're like, listen, like, what if someone's hurt? What if we can rescue them? They're better people than me. I don't know. Maybe it's because I grew up like, or I live in a third world country. But if you see something like that, you mind your business and keep driving.
100%. The see something, say something rule does not apply to that situation.
Well, you
not
can
even
say
a little
something
bit.
Once you're at a police station. You don't have to do it a moment
you don't go
sooner.
and investigate. Yeah, you don't investigate like that. That is crazy town banana pants.
But they are better, braver, stupider people than me. They go back to the house. Obviously, the truck is off, and Derry's like, "Cool, I'm gonna investigate." He finds a bunch of dead bodies in various states of torture and maimedness. He's deeply traumatized. He comes back out. He's like, "Listen, we've got to go to the cops ASAP." This is where it all starts to go wrong. This creature, or the driver of this truck, starts chasing them. And that's most of the movie, basically, is them being chased by this creature. Jeepers Creepers, doesn't have a name. It's a demon. Escaping by the skin of their teeth. More people die. They escape again. More people die. Throughout this, they meet a psychic, or the local crazy woman, whatever you want to call her. Her name is Giselle. She's played by Patricia Belcher, who informs them that this is a demon that every 23 years for 23 days it awakens and feeds, and sometimes it just likes the smell of some people, and it really likes either Derry or Trish. They're not sure which. More chasing happens, and then eventually they realize it's Derry. And the movie ends with him, or this demon, scooping Derry off into the night to murder him horribly. Trish is deeply traumatized. That's the end, or is it? Because we've only just begun.
Oh, we are just scratching the surface of that Jeepers Creepers, aren't we?
Yeah, I mean, credit where it's due. It is a productive 23 days for him.
It is. You know what? He gets a lot done. If I had that, like, if I got that sort of level of productivity in 23 days of every month, I would be very, very happy with like the 7 days of sort of lackadaisicalness. Like, he did do incredibly well.
Yes.
Right. So in terms of number two, because I think, let's just get these synopses, all three of them out of the way. I think that. So in terms of number two, sort of same stretch of road. We're back on that really long highway in the States. It is an undisclosed time, but the film starts with reminding us of the rules of Mr. Creeper. 23 years he emerges, 23 days he can feed, and he feeds on people and the people who he likes the smell of their fear, essentially. So that's when we meet the Taggart family.
Sorry, just to interrupt. We are informed that this is the last day.
Oh yes, which that's very yes, in the second one, this is the last day of the 23 cycle. So so we meet the Taggart family, who are a bunch of farmers. The young boy, who is not credited, is checking out a scarecrow when suddenly it moves. His dad's all pissy with him and stuff because he's not like securing them strongly enough, but that's when we realize that it is Mr. Creeper, and he eats the young boy. Jack Taggart Sr., who is played by Ray Wise, is very, very upset by this. The movie then cuts to another sort of part of town, and there's these high school jocks who are either coming to or going from a championship of some undisclosed sport. I'm thinking basketball, but I'm not too sure. And they're all on the bus back home when the bus blows a tire. We then find out that it was actually a ninja star created by our friend the Creeper, who is actually played by Jonathan Breck.
Sorry, I
So
didn't say who was playing him in the first movie.
I mean, he's the quintessential he's the quintessential role, isn't he? So I
Yeah,
mean, is
true.
it still
The
Jonathan Breck
titular
in the first
role,
one?
I would say.
Yes, yes. Is it still Jonathan Breck in the first one? Does
I just
he
closed the
continue the role?
window, so we'll never know.
Oh no. Oh no. Okay. So they are like they decide to continue driving along with one busted tire. That's when the creeper strikes again and he blows the other tire with yet another ninja star. Now they're kind of stuck stranded in the middle of this road. The bus driver tries to call it in because they can't actually, I didn't know this. I don't know if it's true or it was just a fantasy made up for this movie, but apparently bus drivers can't change their own tires. You need an engineer for that. Don't know if that's true. Please write in. Tell us if you know that for a
Yeah.
fact. Yeah. So they're just like sitting ducks, and that's when the murders start happening. The creeper comes down, starts like picking them off one by one. All these kids are crazy scared. That's when Scott Braddock, played by Eric Nenninger. Oh, I'm gonna get that so wrong.
Oh,
Nenninger. Nenninger.
that's a rough surname, but okay.
I know, right? Yeah. So Eric Nenninger, he is like sort of this really angsty, angry jock guy, and he starts like saying to people like, "Oh, the creeper was only interested in some people and not others. So you know, those people who the creeper was interested should sacrifice themselves and jump off the bus." Surprisingly, it is a lot of the African American group who he wants to shove off the bus. There are some incredibly racist undertones for good old Scotty
Well, what are you gonna
throughout
do?
this movie. But what can you do? It's an early 2000s movie. How unsurprising. So all shit starts to break loose. The creeper starts attacking them, and one by one picks them all off. Most of them die, but I think like 2 get away. And then suddenly like Jack Taggart comes back. He comes to save the day. He's built a big gun out of a post drilling machine. He's able to shoot the creeper just as it goes into hibernation. The movie ends with us seeing him 23 years later as an old man with his missile launcher thing aimed directly at the hibernating body of the
Yeah,
creeper,
he's
who
ready.
he has hung up in his barn, ready to shoot him in the face if he ever wakes up. And the movie ends like 2 or 3 days before the next revival
Yes.
of the creeper. And then who knows what's going to happen, because the third one doesn't tell us. Simone?
So the third one actually, Chad, very critically fills in some gaps because you're like, oh, we've seen the first day, we've seen the last day. What happened in the middle? The third one has the answers. And also because in the second one, you don't really see his truck anymore. He's just like a lone flyer. And you're like, what happened to his truck? Now we know.
Yes, we do.
So this picks up basically after the events of the first movie. Sergeant Davis Tubbs, he's the one in charge of the truck that they have acquired. And it's very clear that the truck is heavily booby trapped and maybe like a little bit sentient. Because it seems like the demon's the only one who can actually like get in and out without being harmed. It has like this big like Joel like teeth spiky thing that comes down. But the truck is clearly full of dead bodies. He's like, cool, we got to tow it, we got to do something with it. As that's happening, Sheriff Dan Tashtego, played by Stan Shaw, he shows up and he's like, listen, 23 years ago, I fought this thing. It's coming back in a big way. We need to be ready. Like, I'm telling you right now, that truck is not going to make it to the impound lot, which I appreciate the honesty. If not being very helpful, like it's late, dude. And actually what he has is like a bunch of other people who survived the initial attack 23 years ago, including I'm trying to find him, but I don't think I will. Well, some dude who has like an enormous machine gun because he has like been waiting his whole life because he was traumatized from a very young age.
He is so ready for this. He is ready to shoot this thing to high heaven.
Exactly. They're like, we're ready. I feel like they've had 23 years to prepare and they haven't really done as much as they could have. But
well, I mean, like, not to make this a political thing or anything, but they've done exactly what Americans do, is think that guns are going to solve everything. Yeah, kick the can down the road and just expect guns to solve every issue. Because very much like, was it Copernicus who said, build me a liver big enough and I can lift the world?
Mhm.
Americans very much are of the belief, give me a gun big enough and I can kill anything, including fear demons.
Especially
So
because, like, I have a feeling that there was someone who, like, academically researched this thing and was like, guys, it's going to come back in 23 years. Like, we need to be ready. And they were like, no, I think it's done.
Yeah.
I think we're prepared. And he's like, no, like, this is an ancient demon. It's very hard to kill. And they're like,
but guns. We've got a really good gun, guys. Like,
Yeah.
don't worry about it. We got an exceptional gun. It's gonna be fine. We can do this.
Exactly. So I just imagine that happened, but who's to say? Who's to say? At the same time, an old lady by the name of Galen Brandon, played by Meg Foster, is having visions of her son who was killed 23 years ago by the demon. Kenny Brandon, played by Jordan Saloom, and he's warning her. He's like, lady, you got to get the hell out. Like, grandma, stop fucking around. It wants something that I buried here. Like, you got to go. You got to get your granddaughter, Addison, played by Gabrielle Haw, out as well. Like, we got to go. She doesn't listen. She's like, what did you bury here? And he's like, there's no time. But she finds it. It is a hand that has fallen off him. And when she touches it, she like sees everything, like how the demon was made and how it can be killed and what it is. She can't see how it can be killed, right?
Yeah, that's what is implied. And like, I think the other guy also says like, I know how to kill this thing.
Yeah. And then he dies immediately, so that's really helpful.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it's very similar to the last one. The demon's running around, fucking everyone up, killing everything. Essentially, how it ends is Addison survives barely, and she kisses goodbye to her new boyfriend, who gets on his sports team's bus. Whoop. And yeah, that's it. So we do know that Addison is a journalist now, and she's fucking ready. She's like, come at me. We know the old man is ready. They're gearing up for a showdown, and now I'm invested, and that's why I need to see the new one.
I get you. I totally get where you're coming from and why you would want to. And honestly, from your synopses there, I would also feel like I wanted to watch the next one in the sequel, or the in the franchise now, I guess. But I just, you know what, I felt like number to me, because they didn't like really specify. Like, I know it was directly after the events of the first movie, but it didn't, like, the second one didn't make it seem like it was part of the same hatching. I want to call it like a hatching. For that 23-day period. So I was just like really confused, because like the events of the second one, I was just like, well, we know what happens to this fucking demon thing. It's like in a barn,
it's gonna survive,
ready to be shot. Yeah, so like we know that no one in this film kind of survives. So I definitely felt like the events of the third one, I just didn't care about. I didn't care about any of these people, because I knew that the villain was gonna live. So there was just no point in any of it for me. I don't know.
Fair.
Yeah, what did you think?
To be fair, that's most slasher movies. Like, you know, the villain's gonna survive one way or another. So that's also something that I find incredibly annoying.
Yeah, I mean, look, the difference here is the fact that like there was no twist. Like at the end of like House of Wax, there is another brother, and you're like, what? Whereas this one, you're just like, oh, I know he lives. So what's my
I think the twist
here?
is supposed to be like the boyfriend getting on the bus, but you're like, yeah, he's been talking about his sports trip all movie, so we know what's gonna happen. But I think the whole point of this one was that like there is someone who has the knowledge of how to defeat him now, and like people who have a genuine vendetta. So it was build up. It was build up for sure.
You're right. Maybe they are playing the extremely long game, because I mean, number one came out in 2001, and then this Reborn one is coming out 2023. So that's a 22-year game plan.
I feel like they knew what they were doing going in. I love that. I think that's very fun.
I want to talk about the Justin Long of it all, because I love that man.
Honestly, I have never been attracted to Justin Long, and then for some reason in this movie, I was like, Oh, I see.
He's great. He is so cool. I
He's
love
very
him in
cool.
everything. And you know what I liked about him in this movie is like his reactions to things were exactly how teenagers would react to things. Like his facial expressions may have been very goofy,
Yeah.
but they were accurate, and I love that. I love the
Yeah.
accuracy of his portrayal in
Yeah, I
this.
feel like he's not in enough horror, actually.
No, no, he actually suits horror very, very well.
Yes.
Yeah, bring back. I hope. Well, obviously he can't be back in this next movie because he died
It's
very, very
yeah.
badly.
Yes.
Um,
Yes. He
that ending of the
there's no
first
coming
one.
back from that.
No, the ending of the first one is exceptionally good. I was
Yes.
very impressed with
Yeah.
that. I liked that a lot.
Yes.
You know, I don't think it's a spoiler to say to people like he dies at the end because hey, this movie's been out for 20 years. Like, you know, you don't
Yeah.
you've run out of your spoiler limit.
Exactly.
But it was very cool with like the skin and everything,
Uh-huh.
and then like for it to come back in the second one was very
Yes.
cool. I
Yes.
liked that.
Yeah, and I like that he made a little reappearance in the second one where he's like a
Mm-hmm.
ghost. I also really enjoyed that part of it is like the ghosts of the
Uh-huh.
victims consistently like coming back to be like,
Yeah.
ah, guys. And I
Things
wish
are
we'd seen
bad.
more of that actually. Like I really would have
Mm-hmm.
loved, you know, though, that one of my favorite horror tropes is like ghosts trying to warn people about stuff.
Yes, exactly.
But I think that
Helpful
would have been
ghosts.
cool is to see more of like someone who thinks they're being haunted, but it's just people being like, you gotta go.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe that's what they'll do in this new one because it is a fun trope because everyone just assumes that ghosts are bad, but ghosts are, you know what? Ghosts are really helpful sometimes. They're really
Yeah.
useful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're just doing their
Um,
best.
there were two things I did hate about Justin Long's character, and that was his name. Who the
Yes.
fuck is called Derry? And
Yeah.
I'm sorry if you're a Derry listening to this podcast, I'm sorry to insult you, but
Yeah.
it's like your parents gave up halfway through calling you Daryl.
Maybe that
You
is his
know,
name, and like it was his childhood nickname, Derry, and then it
uh,
stuck, and now he just goes with
and now he
that.
just goes by Derry. And then the extremely odd belly button tattoo, which
Can I
which is
tell
a
you?
choice.
And I know my dad listens to this podcast. Can I tell you? I found it weirdly hot. Like I can't explain why. I don't
Simone.
have any reason for it. I don't have any reason. Objectively, it's a really shitty tattoo and a really weird placement. But I saw it, and something in my brain was like, "Huh, okay." I don't.
The
I
pod
don't excuse it. I don't justify it. That's what my brain did.
Look, I mean, COVID obviously did a number on you, but like I don't even know what to say to that because I mean I couldn't imagine going up to a man in a bar or having a man like this approach me in a bar and going, hey, my name's Derry. And that's the first red flag and I'm out. But even if we get past that, I take him home, he takes
Yeah.
me home, and I take off his shirt and he's got a rose tattoo sculpted around his belly button. I don't know, man. I might hit the brakes very hard there.
Apparently, I would do the opposite. So,
Yeah,
uh,
that's a green light for you. That is
I have no reason.
interesting.
I have no reason. I have no rhyme for it. I just saw it. My brain was like, yes. So that's a thing that I now have to live with.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. What a
Isn't
time
that
to
the
be
real
alive.
horror of today?
It really is, Simone. That really is crazy. Well, at least, you know, Rudy knows now what to do if he's, you know, feeling a little unsexy. He wants to sort of like reignite things. Not saying he has to, obviously he's a
No.
gorgeous man. But you know what? If he wants to take it up a notch,
Yeah.
get a rose.
I mean, I
belly
haven't
button
broached
tattoo.
the subject with him yet, but
did he I'll ask the question and then obviously I see the video is going to end in a second, so you can answer it when we come back.
Yeah.
But for the recording,
perfect.
did he watch them with you?
No, he did not. I watched these all by myself, which is for the best. I don't
Okay.
think he would have enjoyed them.
No, because remind me, he's not into horror very much, is he?
Well, he likes good horror. He doesn't have like the
Ah.
enduring love that I have for bad horror.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah.
mm-hmm. It's a nuance. We're highly developed people.
I think
and
so.
clearly
Or
he hasn't
tragically
reached that level.
underdeveloped.
So like yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, you
My
go. You
last
go. You
thing
go.
as we close out with Derry, what I also really
Mhm.
enjoyed about the first one was like the banter
Mhm.
between him and his sister. I think like their
Yeah,
relationship
super
was
cute.
very cute, very realistic. It felt like he was just like he really felt like a big brother.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I thought their dynamic was really nice. I thought the sort of the smallness of the cast of the first one
Hmm.
really helped it. You know, it was like a really nicely self-contained movie. It was an
Yeah,
hour and a half.
totally.
It's like it hit the beats really nicely, and it
Yeah.
was just really good. And like by the end, like not even by the end, by like, you know, the first 20 minutes, I was really cared about the two
Yeah, I really
protagonists.
wanted those kids to make it.
Yeah. Exactly. Whereas the other ones, like in the second one, well, I mean, in the second one,
Yeah.
I wanted that racist to die so very hard. It was
Look,
unbelievable.
we all did.
Yeah, we all do. But I didn't care about any of them really.
Yeah.
I think the main people I cared about were the coach and the bus driver. They
Oh,
seemed
that bus
really
driver
nice.
lady knew what was happening. She was the
Oh,
one
she
who
was
was like,
great.
okay, everyone needs to get off the bus. And then she was like, oh shit, no, everybody's got to get back on the bus. She had a
Hmm.
plan. She had thoughts. And she died
Yeah,
so early.
she did. She would have saved those kids,
She would
you
have.
know, so many times over. But alas,
Yeah.
there we go. Dumb teenagers.
What I did like about the second one is that it did
Hmm.
use like a slightly different formula. Like we weren't just like we said,
Mm.
we weren't just following two people. It was sort of like a big group and like the group dynamics of
Hmm. Hmm.
this thing happening when they're all trapped on the bus and they're getting really paranoid and trying to figure out how to solve this. I thought that was really interesting, and it was cool to like have a different approach to the same concept. So I
Yeah,
liked it from that perspective, but like you said, it sort of
definitely.
also suffered in that like I don't think the dialogue was like quite as tight, so I didn't really care a
No.
lot about any of them.
No, no, definitely not. And you know, I think what's cool about it, if we can take away something like very cool from the second one, is if we just look at the film as a whole, it was filmed predominantly on a bus, which I
Hmm.
really liked. That
Yeah,
is a really challenging thing to do, to have your
yeah,
location just being a single enclosed finite space like that.
yeah.
And not only from that, from like actually like the logistics of shooting a film on a
Ugh,
bus.
must have been a
That's
mission.
really fucking
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah, I will
So
say in general,
kudos.
like the practical effects in these movies
Yeah, really
are
nice.
really, really cool. You can
Yeah.
tell that there were like a lot of really challenging, weird filming situations, and they just made those work
Hmm.
so, so
Yeah.
well.
Really, really well done. I must say the costume for the creeper in the second one was my favorite. I thought he
Yes.
was too dry in the first one, like his
Hmm.
physical like features, like
Yeah.
his skin was too dry. Like they made him really oily and wet in the second one, which is
Yeah.
cool. And then in the third one, they gave him a
He's-
red shirt, which I was like, why? That's very
when did he
distracting. I am
change shirts?
distracted. Yeah, well, I'm distracted by your red shirt, my dude.
uh what I
Um,
also liked about the second one is I feel like people
mhm.
fought back the best in the second one. I know that's because like they
Yeah,
ultimately win, but even like when they're still in the bus, the one cheerleader girl just shoves a pole up through the roof of the
yeah,
bus and like basically
so
knocks
cool.
his fucking head off, and I was like, yes
Yeah,
bitch, this is
yeah,
what we're doing.
absolutely.
And even the old
Yeah.
man at the end, like I know this is how he wins, but he didn't do the thing that, as you know, always really frustrates me in horror movies when they like hit the bad guy once and like
Yeah,
scamper off.
walk away.
No, that guy just kept going. I was like,
Yeah,
yes, fuck him up, turn him into soup, let's go.
absolutely.
And it worked out.
Very cool scene. Yeah, exactly. And like actually that was a really emotional beat as well, because
Yes.
obviously he was doing that for his son.
Yeah.
And it's like I love it when you get these moments of realism and like deep emotional turmoil in like really B-rated horror
Yeah.
movies, because it's like these people are professional actors and they're trying their fucking best, and
Hmm.
it doesn't matter the project, they just want to do their best. And it's people like him that I'm just like, you know what,
Yeah.
superb
Great
actor,
performance.
well
So,
done.
so well
Yeah,
done.
very well done.
Agreed.
Yeah. In terms of the third one, I think the only thing that I loved about the third one really was the fact that there's just so much more gadgets. As these films progress, the creeper
Yes.
just gets way more gadgets, and I love that. Throwing stars, knives, spears, an axe, Fucking yes,
And
boy. Go
honestly,
make your
what a
militia.
craftsman this demon is. Like that bone
Yeah.
spear that he keeps throwing is like
Yeah.
beautifully, intricately carved.
Mm-hmm.
It's really interesting. And actually, I really enjoyed the booby-trapped car. I thought that it was
Yeah.
used really, really well. I gasped both times those like teeth came down and almost got
Yeah.
someone. I like literally got a fright
Mhm.
because I wasn't like, because I know that the camera pans up and it shows you these holes along the top, and you're like, I don't know why I'm
Yeah.
being shown this. And then like
Exactly.
so
Yeah,
fun.
it was very cool. It was very cool. The fact that the focus on the third one was more to do with the truck than the
Yeah.
creeper was quite was an interesting take, and I kind of oddly appreciate it because it was
Also,
the third one is definitely more about a creepy truck than it is
yeah.
about the creeper himself. And how cool the truck is, and how like
Yeah.
the tires are bulletproof and everything about it is bulletproof. So
Yeah, and
why
it
have anything
basically
else?
ricochets the bullets back at you like exactly. That's fun.
Yeah, it's better than a Jedi. It's
But
fantastic.
also, guys, if you're if you're going after someone in a car, and I don't pretend to be an expert, but I feel like maybe you should shoot at the wheels or the undercarriage and not directly at the clearly very armored car.
But they tried that, Simone. They tried that
Okay,
with the
not the
wheels
sharpshooter
first.
guy. The sharpshooter guy was just shooting like directly at the fucking truck. It's like, what are you doing? What are you
He was my
sharpshooting?
favorite. He was my favorite
Oh, I
because
did
he tried
like
to
him.
sharpshoot. He tried to sharpshoot with a shotgun as well.
Yeah.
And I was just like, shotguns don't work that way, bud. Like, you're a sharpshooter. You
Mm-mm.
should know that. Like,
That was a
baby
rifle.
girl.
He was holding a rifle, wasn't he? Was it
No,
a
no, no.
shotgun?
In the grasslands, like after
Oh,
the car
yes.
shooting, he just like knelt down with a shotgun. I was like,
Shotguns
my
famous
dude.
for their accuracy.
Yeah,
That's why
exactly.
a pinpointed approach is often referred to as a shotgun approach.
That's what the saying means. Absolutely. You know you're really really refined when you when you shotgun it. Absolutely. My God. My God.
But
So
I did
how
like
would
that
you rate?
character. I kind of loved
Yeah,
him
he was
being
cute.
just like very overwhelmed the whole time.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I thought the third one was really wacky for that as well. Like the whole hand holding thing with the
Gross.
severed hand, and like they go and like lock fingers with it. I'm like, why would you lock
Why would
fingers with
that
a
be
dead
the way that
hand?
you show
Who
this?
does that? Who does that? Why would you not just like palm it?
Yeah,
Who
palm
doesn't
it.
start with a palm?
It's
That
so
was nuts.
bizarre.
Absolutely nuts. But fantastical. Like the third one is definitely the most ridiculous, and I
Yeah.
appreciated that in a weird way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
also. I also wanted to talk about obviously just the creature design of the demon in general. I wanted to get your feel on it, your take. How did you like it?
I loved when his little like frills came up at the
yeah.
back. Like I thought that was very cool. I thought he definitely had some sort of like monster of the deep kind of vibes. Like definitely like sea creature, like with how his jowls were like positioned, things like definitely that.
Yeah.
I thought the introduction of the wings like halfway through the first movie was really choice. That was a
Yes.
very, very good
Yeah,
play.
it's a very cool scene.
The one thing that I thought was a bit of a take back, and I was like, oh, okay, that's a bit lazy, was when they were like, oh, he dresses as a man. He dresses as a man, like to disguise himself, and then he dresses as a man for about 20 seconds per film, and then the rest he's just full demon.
All bets are off, really. And
Yeah.
I mean, he dresses as a man, but like no one with eyes would mistake him for a man. At least in the first movie, he like wears a hat, so you're like, oh yes, a man silhouette. And he doesn't even really bother with that in any of the other ones.
No, absolutely. What did you think of it?
I thought it was really interesting, and I stand to be corrected, but I think that this design came about maybe at a time that WrestleMania was at its peak, because that man is shaped
Right.
like the Undertaker and dresses like him too. And I feel like this was right before, as a society, maybe pre-Slenderman, we decided that actually the scariest looking creature is a very skinny, tall, long person. And the 2000s were like, no, you know what's scary? Someone built like a fucking truck. And it makes sense. Like, I get it. I think the physicality of the role is very cool. I was just like, oh yeah, we used to think this was the scariest thing.
Absolutely.
Like,
I would have loved to be,
No,
you go.
No. I was done. I was done.
Okay. This is what happens when we don't podcast for 23 years.
Not sensing it.
But yeah, I would have loved to be in that pitch meeting where they were just like, you know what we don't need anymore is brick shit houses. I want long, I want slender. That's the vibe going forward.
Want a
And
skinny,
then,
skinny boy.
yeah, the director just did another line of coke and was like, yes, greenlit, let's do it. It's the dream. Yeah. So for you, like, how would you rate them? Like, which is your favorite? Go from favorite to least favorite. How would you
I think maybe it's just because I like it things being in order. But I think in terms of entertainment, it goes first, third, second.
Okay, interesting.
But I'm pretty torn between the second and third. For me, they were more or less on a level. The first is like the clear winner. I actually, when I saw that there were sequels, I actually thought that they would do like a prequel situation, because they mentioned like this crazy story with like the homecoming queen and stuff happening like 23 years ago. And I was like, that sounds dope. We can do some like 80s stuff. It'll be fun. And they don't, which is a shame. But I thought it was kind of cool that they're like, well, let's just cover this 23 days in detail.
Yeah, they kind of lose that in some films and things. So yeah, you're absolutely right. You make a very, very good point. I agree with you in terms of your order. I think that's a good order to do it. I feel the same way about you. 1 is clearly a winner. 2 and 3 are a bit meh. And yeah, I think that is the thing with 3. I think they chose the wrong section of time to do it, because either way, like you say, like I didn't even think of like the previous cycle. That would have been dope to do, like you say. But I also going back, like as the next cycle starts, you know, the old man, he's too old to fight back. He like barely can press the button when the thing wakes up again, you know, and all hell breaks loose, and it's fucking fantastic. Like
I'm excited.
It's just like the coup de grace. That would have been a sick way to finish the trilogy, or like you said, doing your prequel. But to do this weird bit in between where it was just like these people that we don't really care about, and like their relationship is so weird, like as teenagers.
The girl doesn't really like her grandma very much. And the grandma barely seems to like her her granddaughter. The dude's got like a little crush, and that turns into more because they immediately bond through the trauma.
I love it.
And that's, I mean, the cop thing was kind of fun. But mainly you're just like, so you knew this was going to happen, and you are so embarrassingly unprepared. You have had 23 years.
Do you know what they used that 23 years for though, Simone? Do you know what was spent that 23 years? Designing that hat logo and getting matching jackets, which was really cute. Which was really, really darling. I really
you know what? I think that they had some nice lady on that committee as well, and she made all of that happen. And then she was like, oh, actually, I'm going to retire, guys. Sorry, I can't. I'm not. And she was the glue that held them together.
Yeah, she brought baked goods to them every meeting. She made sure there was coffee. But as soon as she went, they were useless. They just started making giant guns that definitely weren't going to kill this thing.
Oh, no, 100% not.
No. So... yeah, I mean, is there anything more that you want to say about these, or should we move on?
I'm trying to think. I think I'm happy. I think I'm done.
Yeah, I think I've covered everything that I wanted to say. Oh no, there's one thing I wanted to say.
Yes.
This is basically a bad version of It, right? It comes back every like 27 years, eats some kids because of their fear, and then disappears. This is basically It, but just like a bad version.
I would say it's a different version of It.
That is very, very kind of you.
And also obviously because this hasn't had the time jump just yet. I like that they were like, nope, we're sticking on the same road. We're sticking in the same time period. And you guys just have to deal with it. And we're like, sick.
Cool.
So
thank you.
Cool.
Yeah. Look, you're right. I think we are gonna have to come back and do Jeepers Creepers Reborn.
We'll have to just know. I think
we have to know.
It might be worth us doing like an update episode, like we watched Jeepers Creepers Reborn and the new After movie, just you know, to wrap it all up.
Yes, exactly. We'll call it the catharsis episode. And
it probably will be anything but.
Exactly. So, do you have a scene that could have saved any of them? Like, what would you? I mean, I know we've spoken about how the third one could have been just like as a basic premise could have been different and therefore better.
Yeah.
But like, just individual scenes from like the other two. Let's talk about the other two
Yeah.
films, 1 and
I
2.
think-
Is there anything that you would have
I
changed?
think for me in general, and I mean, we've talked about this before, so you know this, is I
Mhm.
like rules. I like knowing what the rules are, and I like
Yes,
seeing
yes, yes,
people be
yes.
smart about them. And this thing's
Mhm.
basically like completely indestructible. Doesn't really have any weaknesses. Like as long as it's within the 23 days, it can survive anything. And I wish that weren't the case. I wish it had
Mhm,
just like
mhm.
one little weakness.
Yeah.
Or just like way like weird loophole to like, I don't know, either maybe be invisible to it some way, or like have your scent
Yeah.
actually be repulsive to it if it's so like scent motivated, or like maybe, you know, like the thing in Stranger Things, like it doesn't like high-pitched noises or fire, or I don't know, something,
Yeah,
because
some weakness. Yeah.
you know, I understand it's a slasher, so everybody's gonna die. Like that's fine. But I always like when the odds feel a little more even,
Mhm.
and then people try and
Mhm.
still fail, and then it
Agreed.
just feels a bit more like emotional and tragic, and you're like, ah, you did your best.
Yeah.
Because at the moment it just felt very unfair.
Yeah, it really does. Like this thing is way too OP and there's no way you're going to be able to beat it. So like why even try at this stage?
Yeah. And I hope maybe they bring
yeah.
that in the new movie. Like obviously they've got some
Mhm.
sort of answer that we don't. So it would be cool if we just saw like a slightly more even playing field.
Yeah, agreed. It would be very cool if it was like a situation of like you can starve it out if you're not afraid of it. If like no one's
Yeah,
afraid of this thing and
exactly.
it's just like, oh hi Jeepers, and he's just like rah, and you're just like,
Yeah.
yeah, okay, cool, that's pretty fine. And then like you walk away and he's just like go, and you just he starves to death because like no one's afraid of him.
Yeah,
That would
exactly.
be pretty cool.
Something like
That'd
that.
be pretty sick. Yeah. I think for me, I would have really liked to see in the second one more than one day. So like
Mm.
the whole events of the second movie are just of the 23rd day. If they can survive
Yeah.
till sunlight, they've beaten
Yeah.
the fucking creature, right? I would have loved it to be in like a stranded situation, like on a bus, but sort
Yeah.
of like the vibe of a dead of a stranded island, desert island
Yeah.
situation. They're on the bus for like 4 or 5 days. They've got to learn to like
Hectic.
survive. You know, this thing is fucking waiting them out.
Yeah.
You know, they start turning on each other, but like really slowly. They
Yeah,
run out of
yeah,
food.
yeah.
They run out of
I'm with you.
water.
I actually
Like,
thought that's
that
how it
would have
was
been
gonna
sick.
happen.
Same. But it was just over one day, so like it was
Yeah.
fine. But I think that would have been a much cooler movie if it had like played with them and like one by one it starts picking them off. That would
Yeah.
be really
Agreed.
sick.
Agreed. That would have been
Yeah.
dope.
Yeah. And then I guess finally, would you recommend any or all of these films?
I think if you've listened to this and you've been like, yeah, this sounds up my alley, then it probably is.
Mhm.
If not, then probably not. I know, like it's. I think because this actually scored really highly on Rotten Tomatoes, so it's clearly
Mhm.
got like quite a cult following, and I can see like it's fun and it's creative, and like I said, the practical effects are very good. And if like
Mhm.
this kind of slasher / like creature feature thing is up your alley,
Mhm.
like absolutely go for it. I don't know if it's for me.
Yeah.
I know I struggle with slashers. So would I watch it again? No. Am I going to watch the next one? Yes.
Yeah, but that's more of a you will itch till you die kind of feeling kind of
Yeah.
thing, you know. Yeah, I get you. I mean, I would recommend the first one. I think it is such a cult classic, like you say. I mean, I've heard of the Jeepers Creepers films. I had no idea what they were about. I didn't know
Same.
who was in them or
Exactly.
anything like that. But it is a cult classic, I guess. So if you are a horror fan, even if you're not a slasher fan,
you got
I
to
think
check it out.
just check the first one out. Don't necessarily worry about the next two because they're just a bit weird, but definitely check out the first one. It is worth your time. Definitely. It's an hour and a half. Yeah, it's gonna fly by. It's so chill. Definitely worth watching the first one for sure.
And obviously give us your opinions. Belly button tattoo,
Yeah.
yay or nay.
Yes, I need to know who is on team.
And don't knock
team
it till you've
Simone
seen
for
it,
this.
guys. Don't knock it till you've seen it.
Yeah, you Google Justin Long, Jeepers Creepers, belly button tattoo, and see how you feel with the J Man. How's he doing with that tattoo? So I guess I got one last question for you on this one.
Oh.
What gives you the most Jeepers Creepers, Simone? What is the thing in life that gives you the Jeepers Creepers?
In terms of like what gives me the ick or what scares me the most?
however you interpret the word Jeepers Creepers, like if it's whether it gives you the ick or what frightens you, how do you interpret the words Jeepers Creepers, and then what gives you that?
I think, like, for me, I would only say Jeepers Creepers if I see something where I'm like, yikes.
Right.
Like Jeepers.
That's a great reaction. Yeah.
Oh, do you know what it is? It's like
Uh-huh.
if you try to joke with your boss
Oh
and
yeah.
you just get it wrong. Like you just get it
Yeah.
wrong. You say it's kind of dumb or kind of wrong or something, and your boss doesn't laugh. They're just like, yeah. And
Yeah, that is a Jeepers Creepers, man.
Jeepers Creepers. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I'll hand in my resignation.
Yeah, I want to
fine.
die. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good interpretation of Jeepers Creepers.
Yeah,
I feel you there.
Yeah, what about you?
Oh, you see, I see Jeepers Creepers as a spooky ookie. That's my Jeepers Creepers.
Gotcha.
So I think for me, what gives me the most Jeepers Creepers is when I come back home. So I live alone right now. When I come back home and the lights are off and like the house is quiet, and I walk in and it's dark because now it's getting back into winter. It's getting darker earlier. I get home and it's dark and my whole flat is dark. And like walking into the quiet, dark house, I'm just like, is this where I die? Do I walk into my room and everything's turned upside down? Do I walk into the lounge and the table is just thrown everywhere because poltergeists have fucked with it during the day? Like that moment of unknowing as I step through the dark threshold of my house, of my apartment, is the Jeepers Creepers for me.
I get that. I 100% get that. I think I'd feel that way more if I didn't have pets.
Yeah, I think pets dispel that a lot.
Especially like cats. Like if you walk in and something's a little fucked up, you're like, oh, this asshole.
Yeah, definitely.
And I mean, the running joke in our house, I don't know if I've told you this, the running joke in our house is that it is haunted. But my one cat is actually an amazing diplomat. And like, because he does, the thing cats do where he like stares at spots on the wall and like does little chirps and like, it looks like he's playing with ghosts.
Right.
Which is spooky at first, but I'm like, no, he's seen the ghosts.
He's a diplomat.
He's like, let's hang out. And he's made friends. And so if we are being haunted, the ghosts are very happy. They love Oliver.
I mean, your cats are the cutest, so it's
cute.
fair enough. Like they are great. So yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. I think animals are a good excuse. Like if you hear a noise in the middle of the night, you can just be like, it's not ghosts, it's the cats. It's fine.
Yeah.
Whereas
and also, if I am
alone,
feeling like a little spooked out because I watched a scary movie or something, I'm like, listen, if something were in the room with us, my dog would be doing something, or my cats would be doing something. True. They're not doing anything. I'm okay. Yeah.
That's a good point. I mean, I was watching Jeepers Creepers alone last night, and I had to put the whole light on because I've got a projector, as my main TV. I can't really have lights on in the lounge when watching things, otherwise it distorts the projector. So lights have to be off. So I was just like, the whole light can be on for this. I think the whole light can definitely be on.
Did you get scared? What scared you?
I think it was just being alone. Just being alone and really dark, and it's a scary movie. Like that was it. I didn't want to and my house, my apartment is inherently creepy. It is an inherently creepy apartment.
Fair enough.
So yeah. I mean, for those watching the video on YouTube, you can see my little Balrog just behind me. I mean, like that's not necessarily the scariest, but like in the middle of the night, like that little face staring at you is not necessarily the happiest thing in the world. So guys, thank you for joining us on this wonderful Jeepers Creepers journey. We hope you enjoyed the road. See what I did there, Simone? Road, because the movie is on a road. Okay,
on a road. Yes.
Thank you. My comedy is second to none. So I wanted to ask you, I mean, it's been a while since we last recorded this, a hot minute, and obviously we've been watching good things in the meantime since we finished this. So what is like the top 3 things that you've watched since we finished this podcast? What are those things?
Oh, if you'd asked me 10 minutes ago, I would have been able to tell you, and now I have completely blanked. I started watching the show Kevin Can Fuck Himself. I really, really enjoyed it.
Okay. What's it about? I've never heard of it.
It's great. It's got Annie Murphy. She's from Schitt's Creek. She plays Alexis.
Brilliant.
And it's basically like a play on, like in sitcoms, it's like this
Mhm.
dumbass, like useless guy and like his very like long suffering
Yeah.
wife who's like made out to be kind of a nag. And it's kind of like a
Yeah.
play on that, like from her
Okay.
perspective, where like every scene she's in with her husband is shot very much like a sitcom and it's got the laugh
Mhm.
track and the bright colors. And every time he leaves the room, it's like back to like normal. And it's like her just like trying to cope with this like weird marriage and like how unhappy she is in her life. And
That's so
it's
cool.
really really well done. It's a great performance, well, great performances all around. And yeah, I've enjoyed the shit out of it. I'd highly recommend.
That sounds incredible. Yeah, that sounds so, so good. Amazing. Okay.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
then
I definitely want to watch that.
I obviously was really looking forward to The Sandman and was not
Mhm.
disappointed. I thought
Good.
it was really well done. I don't know if you have had a chance to watch it.
Not yet, not yet. I will
You're
I
a
will
busy
get around
man.
to it. Yeah, I definitely want to watch it though. I like the comics and things, and I like how they did bring in different lore. So yeah, very keen on watching that.
And I realize also I've not talked about movies at all.
Hey, series is what dominates us now. It's very, I don't know about you, but I find it kind of like it's quite difficult to sit down and watch a movie. I think having the podcast definitely helped me watch more movies
Yeah,
because it kind of forced
definitely.
me to. But yeah, I've watched a lot more series than I do movies now, that's for sure. But
Yeah.
go on for the last one. Pull out a single movie that you watched over the last like 6 months that we haven't
Oh
done
my
this
God. I feel
podcast.
like I've enjoyed so many and like none of them are coming up. Oh, I remember being very excited for it at the time and you told me to check it out. The Black Phone came out, was very happy with it.
Yes,
Really enjoyed
it's
it.
good, right?
Really
It's
well
really
filmed.
cute.
Because I'd
Yeah.
read the short story. Um,
Mm,
and I was like,
mm,
I don't know how they're going to turn this into a whole movie, but it was really well done. I enjoyed it a
yeah.
lot.
It is. It's so good. I think the guy who plays the sort of scary, spooky
Ethan Hawke.
kidnapper guy, yeah, Ethan Hawke does an incredible job. I think the
Hmm.
little kid is awesome too.
Yeah, the little kid's a great
Yeah,
actor.
really, really solid. So well worth it. And I mean, Joe Hill is such a superb writer. Just
Yeah, I
so happy with
immediately
him.
support whatever's happening. So
Yeah, I'm glad his like sort of movie writing career is really picking up,
totally.
which is really fun to watch. Yeah, agreed. Well, I mean that really sort of like springboards me onto my three because
Lovely.
the Black Phone was going to be one of mine as well. I thought it
Nice.
was superb. So yeah, definitely that. I've started watching the Rings of Power, the
How
Lord
is
of the Rings
it?
series. Really solid. I was
Okay.
very so only 2 episodes are out. As of recording this, 3 episodes are out, but I haven't watched the third one yet. I'm gonna probably do that either later today or tomorrow.
Hmm.
But like I was a bit skeptical at first. I was like very much of the sort of Lord of the Rings fan club that's just like, harumph, this isn't canon, so I'm gonna be very skeptical. And then
Yeah.
I actually like I sat back and I was like, don't be a jerk, just
Yeah.
like see if you enjoy it for its merits and its itself. And honestly, solid work. They
Nice.
put in a lot of effort. There is still some like canon in there, like the creation of the rings is done by the right people and everything.
Yeah.
So you know what, it looks like it's going to be pretty solid. The first two
Ah,
episodes are cute and really really well done.
I'm glad.
Highly recommend it,
Yeah.
if you're a fan of the Lord
I'm
of the
probably
Rings.
not going to.
No,
A
I
lot
didn't
of
think you would.
very high fantasy stuff just goes over my
Not your
head.
vibe.
Um,
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
saw the
no,
trailer.
that's
I was like,
understandable.
this is not for me. And I've moved on with
Mhm.
my life, and that's okay.
Yeah, look, it's not your vibe. It's never been your vibe. So
Mm-mm.
I can't fault you there. You just got to live your life. But yeah, I would highly recommend it. And then what else have I seen that I really enjoyed that I thought was well worth watching? Um, it is hard. Like
Yeah.
putting when you like you've seen
Yeah.
stuff.
I'm
Um,
sure.
yeah. What was really good that I really really appreciated? God, that's hard, man.
Yeah. What I
Um,
did enjoy, what you and I watched together, we watched the new Batman.
Yes, that was good
It was
fun.
good
That was
fun.
lovely.
I
Yeah.
loved Robert Pattinson's emo,
Oh, yeah.
geeky little Batman. I loved him. I was like,
Yeah.
this is how I would imagine this fucking weirdo.
He's so dark and he's so great. And I mean, our friend Dan came up with the best thing, like as the Riddler came up and he was like, and Dan's got such a dry sense of humor, and this is why I love Dan. And he
Yeah.
was just like, oh, that's why he's called the Riddler, because he does riddles. And I fucking lost my shit in the cinema. It was so good. Love Dan so much. I would say the other thing that I really enjoyed, and it's like it's a blast from the past, but Ron Goes Wrong. is such
Is
a
it fun?
good film. It's really good fun. Definitely worth a watch.
Aw,
Hit it up.
okay.
Yeah, it's if you want a cute Disney film, check it out. Well worth a watch.
Okay.
Well worth a watch. Yeah, definitely. Well, there you have it, Simone. We've done it.
Easy.
Welcome back to Spooktober. We smashed that. I feel like we killed
Look at
that,
us.
right?
We're
Look
here.
at that.
Yeah.
We're professionals. Always
Ah.
consummate professionals. Oh, what can we do?
Look at us.
So we're only gonna do 2, maybe 3 episodes for
Yes.
Halloween, and then we'll be back sometime in the future. I mean, you can probably guess, but we're not going to
Yeah.
tell you. So you might see another 1 episode, you might see another 2 episodes in your
Yes.
feed, but for the next episode that will definitely happen, what are we going to be doing, Simone?
I think we're going to be ambitious. It might have to be a 2-parter because there are a lot
Mhm.
of them, but we are going to be covering the full spectrum of Purge movies. We will not be covering the series
Yes.
because we value our sanity.
Yes.
And I just can't remember that many things anymore.
No, 5 is
But
more
yes,
than enough.
we'll be doing all the Purge movies, which I'm very excited about because they're generally very enjoyable.
Yeah.
And, increasingly feeling more and more real. So that's cool for us.
Yeah,
That's
it will be
fun.
like a quick snapshot into our very, very soon to be dystopian reality. And it's going to be a good laugh. And you know what? Do you know what's going to be really fun about it is we're going to record the episode in about 3 weeks time in
Yes.
our real lifetime. And I will actually be a prosecutor or a trainee prosecutor at that time. So I will be going
Yeah.
into criminal law. So it'll be nice to like approach it from that vibe.
Love that for you.
And I mean, I think we both have a lot of thoughts about what we would do during a purge.
And it's
none of
not
them
murder.
Yeah, murder is the furthest thing from our minds. So I'm excited to see what we have to say at the episode. It should be good fun.
Oh, I'm
Um,
getting all my debt wiped out like immediately. What are you
straight
talking
up.
about?
Oh man, I'm gonna commit so much fraud. You have no idea.
Because there
Like,
must be someone who I don't know, works at a bank or whatever.
mm,
Sorry, this is a side note. I'm sure we'll talk about it during our
Mhm.
Purge episode. But works at a bank or whatever. It's not illegal for them to accept bribes.
yeah, straight up. Yeah, and they can
Um,
just wipe the system.
Yeah, they could literally have a website be like, on Purge Day, by the way, if you pay me $50, I'll wipe out your student debt or whatever. And then you just
Easy,
pay
done.
them. Easy. It's all numbers on a screen, guys. It's not real.
Yeah, exactly. You just like take a giant magnet to the server and just like
Yeah,
wipe
exactly.
everything. Like it's not that hard to do. It would be great. Yeah. Oh,
I
yeah,
think
there are so
actually
many
very few people would be doing murder.
exactly. Like no one walks around with like murder in their heart, but like people don't murder because the government says you're not allowed to and you'd go to jail if you did. People don't murder because it's a really horrendous act. Like it's a horrible thing to do.
It's a horrible
But look,
thing that takes a toll on you as a human
Yeah.
being.
exactly. So, but look, we'll discuss it next week,
Yeah.
or when you're next week.
Yeah.
We've got some build up to get through to it, but I'm very excited to do some Purge. I think it's been a long time
I'm
coming.
very
and
excited.
I'm
I
very
think,
excited.
I think we'll have many discussions. Entirely, nothing that we'd ever have to get called out on, really. So we can be like, no,
No.
we'd be good people. We wouldn't murder. We wouldn't murder. Guys.
Come on, don't be silly. Don't be crazy now. Well, I mean, how do we usually end these things? Do we do like finger guns? Do we say, flap your wings like a beautiful dove and return to us on a weekly basis?
No, you know what we say, Chad.
Oh no, I know. I'm just
Oh.
goofing. I'm just
Oh.
playing the old goofs. That's me, banter goof.
Keeping
man.
the people waiting.
Oh yes. Well, guys, we're not going to do the socials or anything because it would be kind of pointless because we're coming back for like 2 weeks. But we thank you so much for listening. We really do appreciate it.
Yes.
If you have enjoyed our history of podcast and you want to, just like go back to the backlog, we would really appreciate it. If you want to tell your friends and families about us, that would be really awesome. Same channel as always. And yes, as we say at the end of every episode, we love you and there's nothing you can do about it.
We love you, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Goodbye.
Bye.